have already quit on somebody in your life and you never told them. Think of the person you used to go 10 rounds with about the same thing, every holiday, every phone call. You don't do that anymore. That one never got settled either way. You walked out of the room and left it running, and on the day you did that, you made a decision about that person that you have never once said out loud. The decision was small and permanent. You moved that person out of the part of your life where their opinion changes what you do. They still get invited to things. They still get answered when they call. What they no longer get is your effort to bring them around. When a man stops trying to convince someone, the deciding is already finished. What everybody else is watching is the paperwork. This matters to you because of the ones you haven't quit yet. Every man has 2 or 3 people he's still working on, still explaining himself to, still building the case that this time it lands. That's where the years go. 3 more years of the same conversation with your father, your wife, your partner in the business, and at the end of it he is exactly where he was, and you are 3 years older with less to show for the week. Sometime in the next 2 weeks, somebody is going to say the thing to you. The opinion about your job, or your marriage, or how you're raising your kid, delivered the way they always deliver it, with the little laugh at the end. You know which person I'm describing, and you know the sentence by heart, and you are going to agree with them. You'll agree out loud, inside about 4 seconds. Something like, yeah, could be. You'll mean nothing at all by it. Then you'll ask if anybody wants coffee. 10 years ago, that same sentence would have taken your whole evening. You'd have pulled it apart, gone loud, driven home, wound up. Now you hand it back and ask about the coffee, and you're thinking about something else before they've finished enjoying themselves. Look at what that agreement actually was. You handed them the win because the win stopped being worth anything to you. A man fights about things while the other person's opinion still has some hold on his week. Once it has no hold, agreeing is simply faster, and fast is all you want out of that conversation now. Your yeah, could be, was the cheapest way to be done with it. Go through the real names right now. The people you agree with today that you used to fight with. Your brother-in-law, the guy at work with the opinions about the market, your own mother. The list of people you'll still try to convince just keeps getting shorter. Somebody in your family has decided this means you mellowed out. A man who mellowed would still be in the conversation, agreeing because he came around. You agree to end it. There's a reason that costs a man anything at all, even a little. Go back far enough, and a man who couldn't move his group's decisions was a man whose family got the worst end of everything, where they slept, who got protected, how the meat was divided. Being talked over had teeth in it. So when your uncle talks over you at a table, something in you still stands up to answer, and sitting that down takes real effort every time. Which is why this only happens to men who were good at arguing. You need years of practice to get tired in this specific way. The guy who never had an opinion at that table isn't going through what I'm describing. He was never in it. The man I'm describing ran his end of the table for a decade, and then one year he stopped, and every single person at that table noticed. The next time one of those conversations ends, pay attention to the drive home. There's no rehearsal in it anymore. You used to leave a room like that and spend 40 minutes building the better version of what you should have said, the line that would have shut it down, the fact you forgot, the way you'd open the next time it came up. That whole production is gone. Now you leave, put music on and get home. You'll catch yourself doing something smaller too. You'll start typing the long message in the family group chat, the one that lays it all out, with the dates and the examples, and you'll get 4 lines in and delete it. You'll delete it because you can already hear the reply word for word, and answering that reply would take your Sunday. That message was never going to move anything. It was going to fill an evening. The deleted message is the clearest sign of all of this. Rehearsing means a man still expects one more go at it. When he stops writing the speech in his head, it's because he doesn't expect that person to move anymore. Everything after that is logistics, how often he sees them, what he talks about instead. Try this. Name the people you've stopped trying with. Most men can do it before I finish this sentence, which tells you the list was written and filed a long time ago. And when you look at the names, they have one thing in common. With each of them, you tried it 3 or 4 times at your best, with everything you had, and you got the same sentence back every time. Every one of those names has a sentence attached to it. You're always looking for a problem. That's just how I am. Here we go again. You could recite theirs right now in their voice, with the pause where the pause goes. The third time you heard it, you understood you'd reached the end of what was on offer. That sentence was the entire reply, and it was going to be the entire reply next year too. Now watch what the people on that list start doing, because they don't take it the way you'd expect. Inside a month of you going flat, one of them is going to ask whether you're angry at them, probably by text, probably late. You'll say no, and you'll mean it, and they won't believe you, because from where they're standing, you took something away from them. Your fighting was doing a job for them. When you argued with your father about his money for an hour, you were telling him his thinking still counted enough to be worth your evening. That's what an argument is between 2 men who matter to each other. Proof of importance. 2 men who don't care what the other one thinks, have short, polite conversations at Christmas and nothing else. So when you went flat, you took away a compliment he'd been collecting for 20 years without ever knowing its name. That's why they'll test it. Someone on that list is going to bring up the exact topic on purpose at a table in front of people with a little more edge on it than usual. He wants the bite. If you don't bite, he goes again harder, and the second one is aimed at getting you to argue, whatever the topic is. I watched this at a Sunday lunch a couple of years ago. A man in his 40s, sitting across from his younger brother, who brought up the man's divorce 3 times in one meal, first as a joke, then as advice, then as a question about the man's kid, asked in front of the kid. The man answered each one in about 6 words and passed the bread down. By the 3rd try, the brother was the loudest person at that table, arguing with somebody who wasn't arguing. I couldn't stop watching the brother. He was sweating through the back of his shirt. Whatever he thought he was doing to that man at that lunch, he was the one who left upset. Both men learned the same thing at that table, and only one of them wanted to. When a man goes flat, the people who counted on his participation feel it as an attack, and they push harder to get it back. That's your confirmation. What they wanted out of all those years was the round itself, and now there's no round to have. So who got louder in your life over the last 2 years? That name arrives fast when you actually ask it. Someone you see every week started pushing harder right around the time you stopped pushing at all. That person is reaching for something you stopped handing out. From your side of it, all you can see is that they got worse this year. They'll have a word ready for you too. Cold usually, or bitter if there's history between you, and given up if it comes from your mother. Look at what a bitter man actually does, though. He tells you about it. He brings it up when nobody asked. He keeps score out loud, and he wants you to know who wronged him and in what year. That man is still in the fight, running it on his own schedule. What you're doing takes far less talking than that, and it's more final. There's no score being kept because nothing is running. You made one decision about one person, your week changed to match it, and the process was over. Most men can't even name the day it happened. They can name the last real fight, and they can tell you they don't have that fight anymore. Give this 3 months and look at what your calendar says about you. You'll have dropped one of those people without a single conversation about it. No falling out, no announcement, nothing anybody could point at. You stopped being the one who called. And when you count it back, it turns out you haven't reached out since March, and he hasn't noticed, because reaching out was never his job in that friendship. Around week 9 or 10, you'll get one bad hour. It comes after something good happens, a job thing, a number that finally moved whatever the good thing is for you, and you go to tell somebody, and you get to the bottom of the list, and there's nobody on it who would get it. Late, house asleep, Phone in your hand, one good thing you can't hand to anyone, and you'll almost call one of them, the softest name on that list, the one you actually miss, and you'll get as far as looking at it on the screen. Some men make that call. You might make it this year, and I'll tell you how it goes, because it goes the same way every time somebody makes it. It's good for 20 minutes. You'll laugh at something you both remember. He'll ask about your kid by name, and you'll sit there thinking maybe you were hard on him. Then somewhere around minute 25, he says the sentence, the same one, word for word, same voice, same subject. And you'll hear yourself say, yeah, could be, and ask him how work is going. That call settles it, and it costs you nothing to run. What comes back is the sentence that ended it the first time, and it comes back because the sentence was never a mood he was in on a bad day. It's the shape of how he thinks about you. 3 months of not speaking changes nothing about it, and neither would 3 years. I've made that call, twice to the same man, about 18 months apart. Minute 25 both times, and I remember thinking the second time that I could have set a timer by it. You've been building your exception this whole time. It has a name and a face, and it's the one person on your list you can't just see less of. Your wife, your partner in the business, the kid who lives in your house, your father at 71. You'll grant me all of this for the brother-in-law. For that one name, you're going to tell me it's different, because that one you actually have to reach. You're half right about that. Some rooms a man doesn't get to walk out of. If you share a mortgage or a company or a last name with somebody, going flat isn't available to you, because flat is a slow version of leaving, and it takes the whole thing down with it. So with that one name, there's something you need to know before you spend another 2 years on it. You need to know whether the trying does anything. The test is one question, and you can run it tonight. Name the last time that person gave something up because of something you said, something they wanted that they put down at a real price to them, money they'd already spent in their head, a plan they'd told other people about, a habit they liked having, and it needs a date on it. A month and a year, close enough to say out loud. 2 things don't count. She said she'd try doesn't count, because trying is a word, and the test is about the thing that got put down. Anything from before your daughter was born doesn't count either, because the man you're dealing with in this kitchen isn't the man he was in 2016. If you can name it, the thing, the price, the month, then that conversation is live, and you should be having it directly this week instead of in hints and pressure and long silences at dinner. Live conversations are worth being blunt in. Most men waste the live ones by dancing, and then use the dancing as evidence that talking doesn't work. If you're reaching, though, if you catch yourself hunting for an example, or explaining to yourself why the question isn't fair, then you already know what the last few years have been. You've been paying for something that ended a long time ago and calling it commitment. The expensive mistake in all of this is the extra decade, and it's the one most men make. Count the years out instead of feeling around for them. Say it's been 6 years, 4 or 5 conversations a year, an hour or 2 each, plus the 2 days after each one when you're still carrying it around the house. That's a month of your life, at minimum, spent on a sentence you can recite from memory. At the end of the 6, he is precisely where he started, and he'll be there in 6 more. What changes in a man's week when he stops is small and physical. He gets his Sundays back. He sleeps after family dinners instead of lying there running the transcript. His phone stops being something he watches for a reply he'd have to answer. He starts putting Saturday mornings into the license he's been talking about since 2019, because those hours were sitting inside conversations he was losing on purpose. There's one thing that separates all of this from quitting, and it takes about 9 seconds. Before you go flat on somebody, say it once, out loud to their face, in plain words, with no case attached to it. One sentence about what you're going to do, and nothing about what they should do. In your own words, it sounds roughly like, I'm done bringing this up, and I wanted you to hear that from me. instead of working it out on your own. That's all of it. You don't explain. You don't list the 6 examples. You don't wait for them to accept the terms. They'll probably argue about it. Let them. The sentence isn't up for a vote. You said it, so it's on the record. And now you can stop hauling it around. Those 9 seconds are what keep this from turning into the thing your family already accused you of. The man who never says it out loud ends up telling the story to somebody else for the next 10 years. To his friends, to a woman he just started seeing, to whoever will sit still for it. He's still having the argument, just with people who weren't in it. Say it once to the person's face and there's no story left to tell. So run it on the hardest name first, tonight, before this stops feeling urgent. 1 name, 1 question, 1 date. Find the last thing that person gave up because of something you said, with a month attached to it. If the date comes back, go and have that conversation in plain words this week and stop hinting at it, because the door is genuinely open and you've been knocking politely for years. If you're still hunting for a date 20 minutes from now, you have your answer, and the only thing left to do is the 9 seconds. Either way, by tonight, you'll know whether you're in a conversation or in a habit, and you'll stop guessing about which one it is. That's the last thing that conversation ever has to take from you.